So last month, a lot of people got their first true hands-on with The Division, and I had a really good time with it, but I felt there were a few things that needed to be changed. If you missed my video on it, you can check it out here. But Ubisoft have clearly listened to the feedback they received and acted upon it with a whole host of changes. And they've announced an open beta as well. Maybe you didn't get into the closed beta, or were one of the many people who signed up to get in and even pre-ordered the game, but didn't receive your closed beta key. Now, there's a chance for you to all have a go. The open beta starts first on the Xbox One on Thursday the 18th of February, with the PC and the PS4 following the day after, the 19th, and it all finishes on Sunday the 21st. Now that doesn't seem very long, but you do need to remember that the game launches for real on March the 8th, so we aren't really that far away now anyway. But what about those changes then? Well, there were some clear issues with the game when I played in the closed beta, and it really is good to see that Ubisoft have picked up on these feelings from the community and strive to make the game better. Here are some of the most important or bigger changes coming in the open beta, and likely what we will see make it into the final game. First off, if you've already downloaded the closed beta files, then you won't need to do so again. It's about a 1.6GB update for the open beta, which is much nicer than the 26GB download a few weeks ago. A new mission has been added, that's the reason for the 1.6GB update. Different to the medical mission available in the closed beta, where you needed to infiltrate the stadium and take back control, this time you'll be unlocking the technical wing of the base of operations, and you get to try out one of the new technical skills, which is the deployable turret. Moving on to some Dark Zone changes now, and first of all, what you're going to be noticing is within the Dark Zone there's going to be a lot more AI characters for you to interact with. This means the Dark Zone won't look so empty now, and the AI enemies will be a lot tougher than they were in the closed beta, and I think that was a big complaint from people who played. They felt it was too easy to defeat these little mobs who go around the streets and just try and interrupt what you're doing. So it's nice to see that they've updated them and given them a little bit more presence on the streets of the Dark Zone. The only thing that worries me though is if they put the frequency of them too high, let's say there's like one on each corner of the streets, then how is that going to affect the performance of the game? I mean, the footage you're watching right now is not in the Dark Zone, but for all intents and purposes running at 1080p 60 FPS on ultra settings, and it's only just reaching 60 FPS. My concern is that if you start adding lots more AI elements to the game, surely that's going to have a performance hit on what you're playing. I just hope they haven't added too many and we see a massive dip in performance, because that would be a shame. Next change is players who felt going rogue wasn't worth the risk. You'll be happy to know that the reward for surviving as a rogue agent has been increased. So whatever the bounty is on your head for going rogue at that time, let's say you're like level 3, you've got a fairly good bounty on your head. If you survive and don't get killed and the timer runs out, you'll now get 1.5 times that amount as a bonus for staying alive, which is a nice change. And following on from that, it's now a little bit clearer as to how you go rogue in the game, because in the closed beta, pretty much as soon as you shot somebody, you became rogue. And I didn't really like that, because sometimes somebody could just walk in front of your line of fire and you'd hit them accidentally, because obviously you're concentrating on something further away and they've just walked in front of you. So I didn't really think it was fair that you go rogue for shooting somebody that you didn't intend to shoot. The developers have changed the system so that you need to do some significant damage to a player before you go rogue, but they haven't indicated what kind of damage you actually have to do, which would be really helpful for me if I needed to know, oh, you need to take about 8,000 health from this person or something like that. I don't know what the value is, which still doesn't really help me, but they have at least implemented a warning icon over your own player's head to indicate that you fired at another player but you aren't rogue yet. So they've added yet another layer into the rogue status, which for me was already quite confusing. I don't know how people really feel about this, but the HUD on screen for The Division, as lots of people have already said, is rather cluttered. And adding more icons to that, I don't think is going to go down too well, but we'll have to wait and see. I'll give it a test and I'll let you guys know in another video once I've played the open beta. And finally, which is just changing up the style a little bit, some new weapons have been added. A lot of higher end weapons have now been added to the Dark Zone for the open beta, so you won't just be picking up the same weapons that you picked up in the closed beta. Like I had an M1A classic sniper rifle and an RPK. Maybe they're going to be something different. I'm really hoping for a bolt action sniper rifle. That would be awesome. There are lots of other bug fixes that were included in the list, but some of these are just the key ones that are going to be changing in the open beta. I will link an article in the description, however, so you can go and look at all the changes. Personally, I'd like to have seen the icon for rogue players not be so stupidly overpowered in the open beta, but that doesn't appear to have been changed. Currently, it can be seen from hundreds of meters away, and you can see it through walls, which just feels silly to me. My suggestion was to keep the icon visible on the minimap, meaning you'd need to work out where they were with more than one brain cell, and you'd still not be 100% on their location, as the minimap doesn't show any leveling. You'd need to figure out whether they were above or below you. And maybe add an audio trigger if you're within 50 meters of a rogue agent, letting you know you need to be aware. That way, this kind of situation is not so overpowered for anybody who's not rogue to just go and kill the person who is. I think it's just bad if you're 150, 160 meters away and you still know that there's shooting going on. Chances are you might not even have heard it in the game, so why should you know that that person's died? I am really looking forward to playing The Division again though. Honestly, it was probably one of my favourite gaming experiences for a long time, and with a bit of tweaking and added content, I think Ubisoft have a great game on their hands here. But thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on The Division down below in the comments. Let me know if you're going to be trying out the open beta, if you tried the closed beta, or what you're looking forward to. And while you're down there, drop me a like as well. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.